Three, two, one.
Welcome to another episode of the Happy Hour Betting Show. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to break down all of our picks for Week 11 of the National Football League. Last week, we had a solid week. As always, I am joined by my partner here, Clarkson. How are you, buddy?
Well, our combined record shows that we had a solid week. One of us did well, the other one did not. But it's a new week, so I'm doing well. Let's get rolling.
Yeah, it's been one of those years for us in the NFL that neither one of us, like we had the 1 week where I think we were like 7-3, which is a really good week. But we really haven't had a week where we've both just went off, right? You know what I mean? Like, it was last week we went 6-4 last week, I believe. And that's, again, we'll take 6-4 all day of the week. You know what I mean? We're 6-4. We're 50, 40, and 3 overall in the season, up 12 units. And like we do each and every week, we recap our picks from the week before we dive into the current week. So, Clarkson, I'll let you have the floor so that you can recap last week's picks.
Okay. I went 1-4. All 4 L's for us came from my side of things. Seahawks +3. That was a loss. I really thought they were going to come back and cover that at the end of the game in Munich. Didn't happen. Bears -2.5. I don't know. Like they had
I feel like
so
the
many
Bears
chances.
whenever you bet on them.
They had so many chances to win that game. So many chances. All they had to do was stop Jared Goff. That's it.
Well, it didn't help Phillips do the pick 6, so.
Yeah. And then my one win was Browns-Dolphins over 47.5. I can't remember what that game ended at. But
yeah.
It was a barn burner for sure. I think the Dolphins by themselves scored like 35 points. Chubb over 79.5 rushing yards. That was a loss. They kind of fell, and this how we talked about it last week. Game script. The Dolphins got up so quick that game script really took him out of things. I mean, fantasy wise, he ended up with a touchdown to kind of salvage his game, but with the fumble and the Dolphins getting out to an early lead, it really took the carries away from him. And this is the one that baffles me the most. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 picks against the fucking Lions and against probably a top 5, top 3 defense in the NFL right now against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Doesn't
throw a single interception, who picked off the opposing quarterback in like 6 out of their 9 games or whatever the stat is. I really thought that plus money there was going to be just easy money, and he looked like Aaron Rodgers again. It blew my mind. I don't get it. This guy's confusing as hell.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a season. And of course, more recently they took the L on Thursday Night Football. They dropped to 4-7 against the Tennessee Titans. So that's definitely. But it's even
against Coach of the Year Mike Vrabel.
Jesus, it's too early in the morning for all that shit. Well, what's wild to me is watching these Packers teams. Like, I feel like I am officially done betting on the Packers just because I feel like every time I do. But it's crazy. I've seen a lot of people through the weekend after you pointed out the interception thing that I saw a lot of people that were in on that bet, and it just did not happen. And even when they were trying to come from behind, I was like, there's got to be the dagger somewhere, right? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Quick recap for me for my picks last week, with Clarkson going 1-4 and with us going 6-4 overall. That means I went 5-0. I had a hell of a week last week. Not to brag, but I am 8-1 on the last 2 weeks. So I am definitely due for a dud this weekend. Clarkson will probably go 5-0 this weekend, and I'll go 1-4. But I played with some plays last week that were very different for me in some aspects. And one of them was taking the Chiefs and Broncos and doing a 6.5-point team teaser with that. Brought me the Chiefs -3 and the Broncos +9.5. That hit. Chargers +7.5. The most scared I've ever been on a bet. That was a wild end of that game, considering the 49ers had the ball at the 1 yard line, had 3 tries to score, and even thought about going for it on 4th down and didn't, and ultimately kicked the field goal. So the +7.5 stayed on board. Tom Brady over 1.5 touchdowns. That was a breeze against the Seahawks. Jalen Hurts over 1.5 touchdowns. He had that at the half, so that was beautiful. And then, of course, the Dolphins -3 was my lock of the week. So a clean sweep last week. I felt really good about that. I feel good about some of my picks this week, which means, like I said, 0-5 is incoming. So bet with caution. No, I'm kidding. We're going to go 10-0 this week. With that being said, as we do each and every week, we're going to bounce back and forth. Each give us one of our plays for the week. And until we end up going with our last pick, which is our lock. Clarkson, kick us off without further ado for week 11 of the NFL.
I want to preface my picks with I gave Ricky a set of picks earlier this week. And last night, as we were texting back and forth, planning on when we were going to record, I got rid of every single one of them and picked 5 new and got 5 new picks. If they all hit, the ones that I switched, I will be releasing those. And because
here last week, those were my 5 picks.
So those are going to probably all hit, and I'll probably go 0-5 again. But anyway, my first pick, Vikings +2.5 against the Cowboys. They are actually a 1.5 point underdog, home dog against the Cowboys, which doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, the Cowboys are an okay football team, but the Vikings have just found a way to win every single close game this year. I think I saw where they have the second worst point differential of a 8-1 team since the merger, which is a wild stat, but they keep it close and they find ways to win games, which is all you need to do in the NFL. So give me Vikings +2.5 as my first pick.
They've won 7 straight games, and in all 7 of those games, they've been 1-score games. It's wild because then you look at the game against Buffalo, they should have lost. Like, that game was over. And then the fumble in the end zone happened, and the rest was history. So that was pretty wild. All right, so I'm dipping my hands back in the teaser cookie jar a little bit here. So I'm taking the Rams +10, the Jets +10.5. If you put those numbers together, you get -122. That number might be around -130 now, just because the odds shift since I started putting that bet in. But the Jets are seeking redemption coming off of a bye. Like they got destroyed by the Patriots in that last meeting, and which obviously we bet on that game too. You know what I mean? And we are the Jets podcast here. You know what I mean? We are pro Jets here. I don't know when that happened, but we are 100% in support of Zaddy Wilson. So Zach Daddy is the man. So 10.5 just seems like a number. It's weird because like the Patriots are favored by 3.5 in this game, and I understand what happened last game. And still, the Jets have a really good football team. And then of course Stafford's back this week. One of the strangest lines of the week this week for me personally was Stafford back. I understand they're not playing well. I understand that Cooper Kupp's not playing, so I understand that those variables are in play. But this is still a pretty good football team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're taking on a Saints team that's not a very good football team and hasn't been a good football team all year. So that line actually opened at -3 Saints. So if you take that plus at 7, you're at +10.5. So it's basically like a 7-point teaser. Stafford's back. I like the Rams to keep it close, if not win this football game. So 10 points just seems like a no-brainer for both of these games. What's your next pick?
My next pick, we're going to the AFC North here. I've got Steelers +4.5 at home against the Bengals. The Bengals offense, I understand what they did with Joe Mixon last time out before the bye, but that's not going to happen again. Like Joe Mixon's 5 touchdowns again. What was that against the Browns?
Yeah.
And I just don't see them scoring that many points against the Steelers. I don't know how Mike Tomlin does it, but every year he's got a really good defense and always keeps – I mean, I don't know how often he gets blown out, but it seems like they never get blown out, no matter how bad they are as a football team. I think they keep it close. I think this is a punch each other in the mouth, typical AFC North football game. So give me Steelers plus 4.5.
People forget that week 1 win over the Bengals as well in Cincinnati. Yeah. So this is a home game for the Steelers. These division matchups are always dicey. This was actually, whenever he sent me his new picks, that was the one that surprised me the most, but I liked it a lot just because these division games normally are within a field goal of each other. All right, so my next pick is the Washington Commanders minus 2.5 over the Texans, a team that I never thought I'd even consider betting on, but there's actually several different plays in this game that I really considered. Kind of settled in on the Commanders minus 2.5. They are favored by 3. I just want to throw that field goal shot out of there just in case some random things happen here. But Commanders have won 3 of their last 4 games since Heineke took over at quarterback. Should probably be 4-0, considering they should have beat the Vikings, but their defense couldn't, stand up and stop that team, which was another one of those one-score games for the Vikings. But this team has looked really good. You're talking about a team coming off of a huge victory Monday night, upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles, which, part of you could maybe say, maybe they're going to be riding that high and they could have a lackluster performance here against Houston. I just don't foresee that. I like this team to win this game, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if this game's more of a blowout. I think Brian Robinson is going to run all over the Houston Texans, just like everybody else in the NFL has. I expect him to have a big game this week. But yeah, give me the Commanders minus 2.5 over the Texans.
It's weird. And also you didn't mention it, but Chase Young is back as well. He's active again. So that defense really,
they're 5-5.
Gets a shot in the arm there with the, how good of a football player he is.
Yeah, they're 5-5 right now, sitting only 1 game back from San Francisco. They're 2 games back from Dallas. They're San Francisco in the playoff hunt. So this is a team that, if they get a little bit more healthy, they can make a run. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With that being said, my next 2 picks are props. Give me Jonathan Taylor over 85.5 rushing yards. With Wright gone, Taylor's usage has gone back to what it was last year. And with Nyheim Hines gone, he's getting a lot of the passing down work too. The Eagles' run defense is terrible. I don't care if they signed the refrigerator off, but they got Ndamukong Suh and they signed somebody else. But those guys are coming off of not playing at all this year. They're going. I don't even know if Suh could probably won't even be in game shape. I don't even know how much he plays this week. The Eagles have the 32nd ranked rushing defense in the NFL. Jonathan Taylor, I think, clears this pretty easily and gives the Colts a 100-yard game. The Colts defense has been sneaky, actually pretty good, so I think they keep them in this game. I know that the Eagles offense could, like I gave last week with Chubb, could score a lot of points very quickly and get the game script out of Jonathan Taylor's hands, but the Colts really don't have much else going on. So I don't know what else they're going to do other than give Jonathan Taylor the ball. But yeah, give me Jonathan Taylor over 85.5 rushing yards.
It would not surprise me if the Colts beat the Eagles. I know it's crazy to say that, but we saw the recipe to beat the Eagles, right? You know what I mean? Control the clock with the ball, run the ball really well, control the clock, open up the play action pass, and it sets them up for the recipe success. The Eagles have done something that is very confusing. They've got completely away from the run, right? This team has molded themselves into what the Bills are, right? What is the run game? It's only your best running back is your quarterback. That's not right. Miles Sanders is actually a competent running back. And it's crazy to me that they continuously just forget that he exists on this football team, because if you look at the game last week, Miles Sanders ended up with 12 carries for 54 yards, but I think like through the first quarter, he had like 2 carries. And it's crazy to me to watch that. I think if you make Hurts a pocket passer, you can easily beat this Eagles team. And the Colts, like you said, the Colts have a pretty good defense. I mean, and if they control the clock and they keep like if you look at what the Titans did against the Packers Thursday, that drive, they had a drive that was like 9.5 minutes long. Their next drive, like they had
it was what, like 18 plays for 86 yards, and they didn't score.
And they didn't end up scoring, but like they were on the football field for like ever. You know what I mean?
For 3 quarters of the second quarter.
Yeah. So it's crazy to me to watch that. But I like I said, I'm not recommending it as a bet, but it wouldn't surprise me that if I have the Colts in a couple of teasers, because plus 6.5 seems like a lot. Or the Eagles just could come out and be redemptive and just go out there and blow the doors off of them just because they're pissed. But my next bet is one of the craziest bets I've ever seen in my entire existence. You're talking about a Baltimore Ravens team who I am just shocked that they are 13-point favorites even at home against the Panthers. I love this Ravens team. I love Lamar Jackson, and I understand that the Panthers are a team that's weird, but they've actually played pretty decently in the last 4 weeks. They blew out the Bucs. They should have beat Atlanta. They shouldn't. If they missed the extra point, they win that football game. Cincinnati did them in, but then last week they beat Atlanta. So it's a team that, 2 weeks ago they beat Atlanta. No, they did last week.
No, last Thursday.
Yeah, it was a Thursday game. It's weird seeing the dates of like November 10th, 20th. I'm like, what is going on? But it's a team that's playing decent football. But we did hear that Baker Mayfield is back in the saddle at the quarterback position. And you're going to be like, well, Ricky, his prop's got to be 1.5 touchdown pass. No, it's a 0.5. He has to throw 1 touchdown pass this week. It's minus 130. Like, I understand Baker Mayfield is not the greatest quarterback ever, but this Ravens defense is not very good either. I understand they're coming off a bye. They might be a little bit more fresh, but all he has to do is throw 1 touchdown for this prop to hit. That's a no-brainer to me. Like, DJ Moore, this game's probably going to open. Baker to DJ Moore, 55-yard touchdown, boom. We cashed the first drive. You know what I mean? Like, that's to me is like I don't know. This is the wild. It almost was my lock. It probably should have been my lock. To be honest with you, this should have been my lock. There's actually one other bet that's very just as confusing as this one, but not as, because Baker Mayfield over 0.5 touchdowns. He had to throw 1 touchdown, minus 130. This line is just completely disrespectful. So what is your next pick, my man?
My next pick is also quarterback prop, but it's one that scares me quite a bit because he's hit this total in 5 straight games. Everything about this game points to a shootout because the Chargers are getting healthy. Mike Williams is back. Keenan Allen looks like he's going to play again. Who knows with him?
We need Mike Williams back in the worst way on our fantasy team.
But my next pick before my lock is Pat Mahomes over 288.5 passing yards. The Chiefs have no interest in running the ball. They're like the Patriots towards the end of Tom Brady's tenure there. Their run game is their short passing game. I understand Mecole Hardman is on IR. I get that Juju Smith-Schuster is still in concussion protocol. I do not care. Pat Mahomes is going to throw the ball a ton. The over on his completions I saw was like 25.5 at plus 100. That was almost my pick. He is going to throw the ball a ton like he always has. I mean, Pacheco could potentially carry the ball a few times, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not. I mean, he hasn't gotten a touch in 2 weeks, and Jerick McKinnon has caught, I think, 6 balls the past few weeks. Like I said, they don't have any interest running the ball. Pat Mahomes over 288.5 passing yards.
It is insane to me. Like, there's so many props in this game, just Patrick Mahomes related, that I almost considered. Right? I even like the over 2.5 touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like literally every prop that is related to Patrick Mahomes in this thing. And it's actually, the way you set this up, perfect segue into my pick. It's a prop pick this week. I might regret it, but you know what? Here we are anyway. I like Kadarius Toney over 50.5 receiving yards at as Clarkson mentioned, no Juju this week. Hardman on the IR. MVS and Tony are the 1 and 2 receivers on this team. Obviously, if Kelsey, calm down, everybody. He's a tight end. He's the number 1 weapon. All right. But you have MVS, Tony that they're going to have to get the. Now, listen. The Giants gave Tony to the Chiefs for like a pack of, gum and a cheeseburger. So it's crazy to me that Tony's actually really good if he stays healthy. And he showed that last week. He got wide open on that one play and scored that touchdown. But Tony had 4 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown in his second game with the team. Now you take out 2 weapons of this team, and now you're forcing him to be one of the top 3 options in this team. He's got the speed. The Chargers might be – they have a decent defense, but they can be thrown on. And the thing about it is Tony – you don't have to throw deep to Tony. You could throw it 5 yards, and he could take it to the house. You know what I mean? 50 yards is a low prop. I feel like this should have been a little bit higher had they known 100% Juju was going to be out. This might jump up over the weekend. But I like Tony over 50.5 yards a lot this week. I like the Chiefs, and it's crazy to me. Like, I might just make a parlay just on Patrick Mahomes props and just go from there. But, official pick, Tony, over 50.5 receiving yards. All right, it's time for our locks of the week. Clarkson, I think you've lost like 4. Like, you were hot.
Yeah, I think I was like 5-2 after week 7 in my locks, and I think I've missed 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's our locks have been hot. You know what I mean? We've been dropping them like they're hot. You see what I did there? All right, so that was awful. So with that being said, we're 9-10-1 overall in the season. I actually hit my props last week. Clarkson is 5-5. I'm 4-5-1. Let's hear that. Which I just realized I posted our week 11 locks as week 10 locks. What an idiot. Go ahead and hit us with your lock of the week.
My lock, Ricky alluded to it earlier. This is a Jets podcast. Like he said, I don't know how that happened. It just kind of, when you find something that you love, you really just lean into it. I understand like he said earlier, the Patriots blew out the Jets the first matchup, but I think they come out hot after the bye week. Give me the Jets plus 4.5 as my lock of the week.
I like it. I teased them earlier, and the thing about it is what's crazy is even in my tease, I have them at 10.5. You get the good number. It's like this is another game where I'm going to sprinkle some money on the Jets money line, 100%. Like 100%. I think the Jets win this football game. Like I am solely confident in us talking next week about how the Jets won this football game. I'm going to dip my toes back into the Rams game for my lock of the week. I like the Rams over 1.5 total touchdowns. Yeah, again, Rams over 1. I understand this team has struggled. I understand, et cetera, whatever. We got Stafford back. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're like, oh, he doesn't have Cooper Kupp. Well, he's got the other white receiver, Ben Skowronek or whatever his name is. Scrawny neck. I don't even know. But look, this team still has Allen Robinson. They still have a pretty good run game. They still have Tyler Higbee. They still have some weapons on this team. I like Tutu Atwell. I like what they can bring to the table in order to score not 1, but 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? The thing about it is they could run 7 touchdowns in. I don't care how they could get a pick 6. I mean, that's possible. Andy Dalton's playing quarterback. Touchdowns. I don't care how they score these 2 touchdowns. They're going to score 2 touchdowns this week. They might score 3 or 4. I don't care. They might score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and my bet will be done. This is a no-brainer. It's the lock of the week. Trust me. Let's just push this one to the moon. And I'm telling you what, there's a really good prop parlay or a good same-game parlay that you can run with. The Rams over 1.5 total touchdowns, and the Rams plus 10. You can even do Rams plus 7 if you want to get the line a little bit sexier. There's so many different ways that you can run this that will really drive. Like, I'm all over the Rams this week, and I'm going to have some money on the Rams money line. There might be a really good parlay out there of the Rams money line, the Jets money line, and that I really like here. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different variables in play. I mean, and the Commanders, like there's a 3 parlay right there. I don't know what that number would come up to, but Rams, Jets, Commanders 3-team parlay that I really love this week. So give me Rams over 1.5 total touchdowns as my lock of the week. And like we do each and every week before we go, we share our picks and our quick recap. And I'm going to give Clarkson the floor.
All right. So my picks, we got 5 of them each this week. I'm going Vikings plus 2.5. They're a home dog to the Cowboys. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. The Vikings keep every game close, and they're always in it at the end of the game. They're 8-1. They've won 7 close games in a row. Give me the Vikings plus 2.5. My next pick, Steelers plus 4.5 at home against the Bengals. They are – Mike Tomlin always finds a way to keep games close. I don't understand it. They never get blown out. They did beat the Bengals in week 1, like Ricky said, in Cincinnati. So Steelers plus 4.5 at home. My next pick, Jonathan Taylor over 85.5 rushing yards. Taylor is getting all kinds of usage now that Frank Reich is gone, and the Eagles have the 32nd ranked rush defense in the NFL, which I don't know if you know this. There are 32 teams in the NFL. That means they are last place in rushing defense. My next pick, Pat Mahomes over 288.5 passing yards. He's hit this total 5 straight games. The Chiefs don't have any interest in running the football, and this could be a shootout with the Chargers getting healthy. So give me Pat Mahomes over 288.5 passing yards. And my lock of the week is the New York Jets plus 4.5 against the Patriots. They're coming off a bye. The Patriots might have blown them out in the first matchup, but I think the Jets come out of the bye hot, well-coached football team, and they keep this game close and potentially even win, like Ricky alluded to. So my lock is New York Jets plus 4.5 against the Patriots.
I like it. Bounce back week for Clarkson is in full effect, which means not a good week for me, but that's just how it's gone. But I'm going to take the floor real quick. My bets of the week are as follows. Give me the Rams plus 10, Jets plus 10.5, parlay them together, minus 135. Kadarius Toney over 50.5 yards. I like this bet a lot because no Juju, no Hardman. They're going to have to throw the ball to somebody outside of Kelsey. The Chargers will hone in on Kelsey, even though Kelsey will still probably score 8 touchdowns. Give me the Commanders minus 2.5 against the Texans. The Commanders have played very good football, won 3 of their last 4 since Heineke took over as quarterback. The team's clicking on all cylinders when the Texans can't even score any points. Give me Baker Mayfield over 0.5 touchdowns. He's got to throw 1 touchdown passes at minus 130. It's an insane bet. I understand what you're saying. Like, what? Exactly. I agree 100%. Baker Mayfield over 0.5 touchdowns. Give me the Rams over 1.5 total touchdowns as my lock of the week. You cannot tell me with Stafford back, even without Kupp, even without Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, you could get rid of all of them. I like this team to score 2 touchdowns. They could even have a couple defensive touchdowns here because the Saints are not good at football. Give me the Rams over 1.5 total touchdowns for the week. All right, Clarkson, I'm feeling strong about this week. I feel good. And real quick before we go, I put together a parlay, not official play, but if you want to play it, let's go. All right, so you take the Rams, you've taken all the spreads on all these games, right? Rams, Commanders, Vikings, Steelers, Jets, and you're basically taking all of our picks, right? And you're getting plus 7. So you got the Rams plus 9.5, Commanders plus 4, Vikings plus 8.5, Steelers plus 10.5, and the Jets plus 10.5, and you're getting plus 320. And that's insane numbers right there. I really like that a lot. And I mean, I'll probably, whenever I get off the show, I'll be like, Clarkson, it's in the queue. You know what I mean? Like, on DraftKings, I don't know if you know, like you have the social group if you're friends with people. So Clarkson and I jump in there and be like, hey, bro, I got a couple bets. And he normally does with me. He's like, what did you bet? I'm like, just go. But it's good. Like I said, I'm having fun this year. We're on the season right now. We are sitting, I don't even remember the number because I don't have it up. I swear I thought I did, but I don't, but I do. Hang on one second. We're going to go back up to it real quick before we go. We are 50, 40, and 3. Pretty solid season so far. We're up 10 games on the year. I like it a lot. We're up 12 units early on because of Clarkson hitting those a week each and every week, man. We're going to be back.
We're getting back on track.
We are. Next week, I'm not sure when we're going to record. Quite sure next week because we do have the 3 big games on Wednesday. We might film after that because there still is football after Thursday, sorry. But we might have some plays for Turkey Day for you guys ahead of the big week 12, which is insane to even think about that we're in week 12 of the NFL season. Like,
I know,
this
dude.
season is flying by really fast. Like, once it's over, Like, I don't know what we're going to do with ourselves. Do we dive back in baseball? Who the hell knows? Nobody knows. You know what I mean? We talked about it last year. Like, no, we're not.
College basketball.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. You know what? I was going to be mean, but you know what? Old Mickey was mean, but this guy's going to be really nice because it's been a tough week for you in the world of Kentucky. So not even just basketball. So yeah.
Anytime you have the opposing coach crying on your home football field because they broke their 26 game SEC losing streak, you know you're not having a good time.
Straight up not having a good time. And then you got to go back into work with some.
I know.
So, yeah.
Tough.
Well, folks, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week at some point. We'll make sure to announce it to you guys. We thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you guys next week.